I love it. If a viewer needs to get off to work now or get family off to school, is there a good way to reach you, to learn more about you, or just to reach out, some way to contact you? Or do you have a website?
I do have a website. It's kmaynard.com, www.kmaynard.com.
Okay.
But it's got to get updated. I got to learn the web lingo myself. We actually, after the Oprah piece that I did, when we released the book, had such a huge web influx that it ended up crashing, and so lost all the old data. But it's cool.
It lost all the old data.
Yeah, well, kind of in the interim, doing other interviews, whether it was with Larry King or the HBO piece, and people come in there and reached out to me and said that the story, even quite a few people had said that the story stopped them from committing suicide.
Oh my God!
So it really, when I was competing, all I was a wrestler. I was at home on the wrestling mat, and never really realized the story would go on and have the impact that it did. When I was writing this, I wanted it to be in my own words and figured that I wanted to, if a few kids got a hold of it, change their perspective, they got involved in sports, whatever, helped out, then it'd be good. And it had so much more of outreach than that. So I'm very thankful for that opportunity.
That sounds like basic Christian underpinnings, that idea of if I can make a difference for one other person and open the opportunity for them to meet the Lord.
That's the way it should be with everything that we do in life, is that any tribulation we have to face to go out and help one person should be worth it, if we can really change their life.
Right, absolutely. We got about 10 minutes, Kyle. When you think about, for you, your parents, they dealt obviously very well, it sounds like, with their firstborn and the potential issues that could have come up with a couple having their first child.
They weren't afraid to push me hard. It kept on me. We got a pool over there. Literally, my dad taught me how to swim when I was 4. He tossed me in a pool and told me to get out. That was pretty much it. Taught me how to float on my back first, and that was, taught me enough to survive. And then, he knew that the world wasn't going to be tailored for my every need, so that I had to go out and learn how to do things on my own. And it's always been an important lesson. Every wrestling match that I've ever wrestled in, that he was there to videotape. Mm-hmm. We've gone back, analyzed it. He was a wrestler and a football player.
Is that right?
And so, it's always good to have his advice. My mother was there socially for me to make sure that I was, a well-dressed, well-mannered kid, and had friends, and grew up in a normal social setting. So I just had that normal life. It's the best way to describe it.
Take on any other sports or think about anything other than wrestling?
I did play football for 3 years through middle school, but I wrestled all the time from when I was 11 until I was in college at the University of Georgia.
I think I saw you and the coach had come up with some, was it jawbreaker and some other phrases that I can't remember, but they look pretty rough.
I use that a lot now with submission fighting and stuff. Some of it, my wrestling, I got a different switch. When I compete, I'm going out there to beat you, no matter what. I don't step out on the mat to be a token member of the team. I placed top 12 in the nation my senior year.
Oh, come on.
So
in the country.
It's something that, it's a switch that I think a lot of successful people have, is that, when it's time to go, then you have that ability to turn that on and whatever it takes to win.
Wow, those are good words. A lot of folks are not that way, as you say. That's probably why they're not.
What the thing is, a lot of people, I think everybody is to a degree. You have to find out what you're passionate about, though. You're passionate about reaching out to people, and I can tell that you have that, desire to reach out and, and share these stories with the viewers. And, it's the same for me when I go out and speak.
Sure.
Same for me when I go out to compete. If you step in across from me, in a fight, in a wrestling match, then, you're no longer a person, you're an obstacle that's in my way, and I'm going to run through you. And
I love it.
If you're passionate about something and you love it enough, then no challenge is going to get in your way. Nothing's going to be big enough.
That's how you came up with this phrase, it's not what I can do, it's what I will do.
Exactly.
Not what I can do. Is that how you'd kind of prep yourself getting on the mat for...
People think about, and I hear people, and I do it to a degree myself sometimes too, where I talk about things that I can do. I could do this if I tried. This could be possible if I devoted the time or whatever. Mm-hmm. But very few people take the initiative and say that they will do something, and they make themselves accountable to it, and that's what it is. It's just accountability. And once I make that statement, I could say that I could go out and wrestle. Right. You wouldn't believe me. You wouldn't believe me if I hadn't shown you.
That's a great
But I could show you that I will step out and I will compete.
Right.
Actions speak a lot louder than words.
I was thinking about that last Thursday as I was preparing for a little exam I was taking. I said, I'm going to dominate this thing. I'm going to take it on.
Exactly. You have that mentality.
Right.
And you've won before you step in there.
Absolutely.
Every single match that I've ever been in that or fight, whatever, people told me all along the way that I couldn't do it. It was impossible.
Right.
Then when I got better and better and started beating people, they said that I had an unfair advantage over everybody that I competed against. So, it's something that my mentality changed. And it went from, I'll step out here and have fun to, I've won this before I ever come out and before it ever starts.
Have you set some goals now, looking forward, let's say, over the next decade? Are you started to lay goals out?
I definitely
have. Are they
have.
goals when you say, I'm going to do it? I mean, is that, that's kind of a modified goal setting?
Oh, it is, yeah. It's something that, with, the book kind of set me on a different path. Like I mentioned, the TV show kind of set me on a different path.
Sure.
Things keep going in different directions. They added a sport that's very similar to wrestling. It's Brazilian Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. It's a martial art. It's all wrestling, but it's chokes and arm bars and a little bit more malicious. Mm-hmm. And they added that to the Olympics for 2012. And I know that right now I don't have what it takes to step out and make the Olympic team, but I know that I'm getting close. And if I can do everything I possibly can over the next 4 years to train for that, then it makes it possible for me to get there.
That's tremendous.
And one thing I keep in mind when I go through, because, you do have to have something in the future that you're working towards.
Right.
You might not know what it is exactly, but just to be able to visualize a second of that, sitting up on top of a podium maybe.
Sure.
I've always dreamt of opening up fitness centers, and having that first gym open. Winning the Olympics, whatever it is, it's like you just got to be able to taste a little bit of it, visualize it. And I always say, and I have this quote that goes through my mind when I train is know your limits, but never stop trying to break them. Mm-hmm. And then that was the way it was for me with everything, from wrestling, to lifting weights, every goal that I've ever set.
And the mind does have to work that way. It can't visualize, I want to be good at something, or like I want to be a better father. The mind can see me sitting across from my daughter at McDonald's asking her about her week, in the same way can see you opening the door to that fitness center.
Exactly.
You've got to do with the things that what the mind can visualize.
Yeah, we do, and if you love something enough like that, then you can go after it.
Right.
And that's what I try to teach people, is that every excuse that you make sets you back from that.
Yeah.
And so stop making excuses for why you're going to give up and quit. Start making reasons for why you're going to push through and why you're going to succeed.
Right. How about your freshman year at Georgia? What was that like, Kyle, as you're changing from a high school campus and being there with your family and I believe Sewanee, and then heading over to Athens and being away from your folks and away from the folks who've known you from youth? What was that like your first year on campus, or even your first week?
Yeah, it was really interesting. It was because I had to go through that period again where I had to learn just to people would react differently to me or whatever. Sure. And then I just had to to remember that if I accept myself, other people accept me the same way. Just without the disability, it doesn't matter. And I had to learn that lesson all over again. That was an interesting point. And then I fell into a lot of media attention and all that, and people's perspectives really started to change. But it's just a matter of accepting myself.
You're a great-looking guy, down to earth. You date much? Do you have any time to date? My God, you're traveling all over. Is it the Washington Speakers Bureau?
That's right, yeah.
So you're with a tremendous group.
They're a great group. They've helped me out so much. Just to be able to share messages and reach out to people.
Great-looking 21-year-old, down to earth. How do you have time to date? Do you date? Any special ladies out there? Yeah.
I was in a pretty serious relationship last year, and have since. We traveled a lot together.
Right.
My ex-girlfriend had just graduated college and spent a lot of time together. But now I kind of made the decision that I wanted to just to branch out, meet more people, and I wasn't ready to settle down yet. And it's dating and all that. It's just it's the same thing again. Is that every relationship I've ever been in, it's just an even playing field. Every girl that I've dated has looked at me the way they look at myself, and that's
great.
Without the disability, because it's really just not a factor if you don't allow it to be.
That's great. Those are great words. What do you think you're most proud of, Kyle? Can you think about that? Obviously, as a Christian, you're not. You don't think necessarily pride, or you may not. But when you get in the ring and it takes somebody down, I'm sure that's a good feeling. But what across the board do you perceive as something you're most proud of?
Yeah, it used to be all about when I was a little bit younger. It was about more physical competitions, this and that. I was really proud of, setting goals and achieving it on a wrestling mat or wherever. Right. Now it's changed because it's, just having the chance to reach out. I'm proud every time I see, a little bit of feedback from people, and working with, the HTC group last week, it was, just the feedback from people even right after the fact. It was a special thing. And, if I can reach out and impact maybe a few people in each audience that I speak to, then it's worth it.
You want to remain approachable. You want to be approachable.
Without a doubt. And that's why I do this. It's a good career.
Right.
And it's helped me that way, but at the same time, it's made me a better person just meeting these people and seeing kids, that don't have a choice, that have gone through things, be it cancer or, so many other seemingly impossible challenges, and just have a great smile on their face.
Right.
It's the most refreshing thing in the world for me.
I love it. Kyle, thanks so much for being with us this morning. I'm sorry the 25 minutes disappeared so fast. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Kyle Maynard coming up next. I love these two quotes, one from his dad, one from him. I love that one from him, though. It's not what I can do, it's what I will do. If you haven't been with us the last 25 minutes, look at the author. This is a New York Times bestseller. No Excuses is the title of the book, but the author, Kyle Maynard, special guy. If you haven't been here with us the last 25 minutes and you're tuning in now, write down these 11 words. It's not what I can do, it's what I will do. You can live your life that way. You can make a difference. Whether you've got challenges you're facing or you're running on all 12 cylinders right now. Write that down. It's not what I can do. It's what I will do. That's very cool. And how about his dad, Scott Maynard, saying if he doesn't learn how to eat, I can't even remember this quote. I'm going to look down and read it. It's a great one. If he doesn't figure out how to eat on his own, he's going to starve. How many 21-year-olds would admit that their father threw them in a pool at age 4 and said, get out of there on your own? Learn how to swim. It's an exciting thing. Parents can do a lot in raising a child. You've got to have great parents. Scott and his wife were blessed with a tremendous son and 3 amazing daughters. You can see it. Pick up a copy of No Excuses. Go online. Check out this New York Times bestseller, Kyle Maynard.